Coinbase had a net loss of over $660 million last quarter. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is currently hovering around $67,000. In today's video, we'll be going over this, taking a look at the most recent Bitcoin price action, but also discussing the most recent inflation data. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First things first, I know you guys like to see my trades. Nothing has really changed. I'm still in my hype long position. I've also continued to short Bitcoin from $97,000. We've talked about this at length. Ultimately, I do think that in this bear market, Bitcoin will be headed lower, but in the more immediate short term, it's still very much the same base case. So we started this video talking about Coinbase. You can see that their quarterly earnings per share was around negative $2.49 compared to the expectations of around 96 cents. The company posed a net loss of around $667 million last quarter. It's no surprise because that's when the bear market started. Before we take a look at the Bitcoin chart a little bit more closely, let's talk about the inflation data. So you can see that it's basically within expectations. Year over year, though, we came in at 2.4%, with the previous at 2.7% and the consensus 2.5%, with the forecast at 2.4%. So this is pretty standard stuff. Now, if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart, you'll notice that we had significant drawdown as per my previous videos. Now, this is very, very similar to the price action that we got most recently when Bitcoin dumped down to around $80,000. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, and you can go back to my older videos, I actually went long right around here and took most of my profits above $90,000. This was a pretty big swing long for me in this market. Then I went short at around $97,000. You guys are probably tired of me talking about it, but the next big trade opportunity could stem from around the zone that we're currently seeing. But right now, from a risk to reward perspective, as I've been talking about, I want to say over the past week or so, I am looking for longs in this market. You can see that I am currently longing hype, which is down. It's been up, it's been down. It's a swing trade, so I essentially hold this position. And right now, it would not surprise me if we get a little bit more relief before potentially rolling over. That being said, it's very, very important to understand, if you're new to the channel, that one, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing all of his own personal trades and his overall market analysis. And two, I have a massive hedge in this market. I secured some very nice profits on my Bitcoin short when everyone was euphoric, and now I'm continuing to hold on to this trade as a nice hedge in the market. That being said, in the immediate short term, my base case is still the same. Now, for a potential relief rally, I would actually be eyeing somewhere around these tariff capitulation lows. Now, this would bring Bitcoin all the way up to around the mid 70K zone. That would be an ideal scenario for another potential swing short for lower in this market. So basically, how I've been guiding the community here is I'm in my short, I'm looking for some longs, but I am not taking aggressive longs. What I mean by this is I'm not taking that much risk on my long positions, simply because we have to remember that this is still a bear market, and my base case is that Bitcoin will be dropping below here, likely below $50,000 this year. Some of you seem to get offended when I say that, but guys, this is traditional crypto market cycle behavior. Look, we've dropped thus far from the high to sub 60K, approximately, call it 53%. In most cycles, we tend to drop well over 70%. Let's assume diminishing drawdown, we have institutions involved. Again, you know my base case. We'll probably drop somewhere between 60 to 70%. So a 60% correction would put Bitcoin below $50,000. A 70% correction would put Bitcoin below $40,000. The thing is, you don't want to try to time these levels. All you can really do, if you believe in the asset class in the long term, is to slowly dollar cost average as we head lower in preparation for the next big run of the upcoming cycle. So right now I'm keeping my positions as is, and you can see that Bitcoin dominance is currently still below its bull market support band, therefore suggesting that altcoins are actually outperforming Bitcoin, at least over the past 2 weeks. Now, ideally, as I mentioned in my previous video, if Bitcoin dominance is to drop a little bit more, this would be on a Bitcoin rally. This way, we can get some outperformance from select altcoins. I really do like hype. I like the structure of the chart, and therefore I have been longing hype. This isn't your call to go ahead and just jump into a long because I'm doing it, but I'm just sharing with you exactly what I am personally doing with my trades. If you've been watching me for a while, you know sometimes I come on the channel, guys, I lost $20,000 on X trade. Guys, I made $300,000 on X trade. That's part of the trading game. Don't get caught up with the amount of capital that you're seeing on the screen right now, because I have been trading the crypto market for years now. As long as you have proper risk management, you can take positions in this market and you'll be able to ideally make some profits throughout the bear market. That way you can go ahead and prepare yourself for the next euphoric phase. Because yes, I do believe we will have another euphoric phase, the next bull market cycle, and you can use some of the capital that you made trading the market that is currently right in front of you. That's also a reminder, if you want to see how I am personally trading the market, seeing the trades that I enter before I go ahead and jump on the YouTube channel, make sure to DM me the keyword 2026 on Telegram, and I would be more than happy to onboard you into my free group. The only requirement is that you've signed up with one of my affiliate exchange links and you start trading on there as you normally always do. Now, I would typically recommend Bluffin. I do trust them. I've been holding capital on here for years. You can see right now I have around $2 million in equity. And so at this point in time, I have no complaints. Been trading here, and if you sign up with my link in the description down below, that's the second link, you do get VIP access, which significantly reduces your fees. You can see here that I'm actually VIP 4 because I use this platform so much. Now, let's take a look at the dollar, because we haven't talked about this for a while. This is ultimately building out my base case for Bitcoin going lower this year, along with risk assets, simply because we are at a pretty pivotal support level. I would anticipate that the dollar will be rallying this year, but you have to understand that this can take a lot of time to develop. The dollar could essentially bottom out for months on end before making its next big move. The thing that's a little bit concerning for Bitcoin more locally is the stock market. Remember what we discussed. If the stock market gets any kind of noteworthy correction, well, you know what happens with crypto. We will likely move lower. And in midterm years, the stock market doesn't tend to perform that well. I would not be shocked if at some point we end up losing this bull market support band, and therefore we can bleed lower from a stock market perspective. And naturally, this affects crypto significantly, because we've seen time and time again, especially over the course of the past 2 years, if stocks move down by like 3%, Bitcoin all of a sudden drops 10%. Remember, crypto is the riskiest of asset classes. I'm actually considering trading the stock market in my free group as well. If that interests you, you do have the first link in my description down below. Something else I'd like you to understand is the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Guys, this is primarily a crypto channel, and you can see that we're starting to see some significant outflows. This is not what you want to see for continued upside. More locally, I still think we can get some relief, but I would not be taking aggressive bets on that, simply because if the outflows continue, we have no chance. Now, taking a look at the Bitcoin Exchange liquidation map, which is ultimately part of my thesis as to why more locally we can get some kind of pump before retracing further, well, you can see that most people are positioned in shorts. There is significantly more cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market, and we're talking about a 25x here. So it would really shock me if all of these aggressive shorts get away with shorting. Bitcoin likely doesn't just go down in a straight line, and we can take advantage of this kind of volatility. And there's only really two more things that I'd like to cover in today's video. You can see that Mike Novogratz just blamed Binance for the 10 out of 10 liquidation event. Guys, this is pretty significant. Hear what he had to say.
Everyone keeps coming back to October 10th. $19 billion in liquidations in 24 hours, 70% of the carnage in 40 minutes. Yep. Everyone's pointing fingers. I bet people in this room have 3 different theories. What do you think happened? Is this a Binance leverage USDE culprit?
I think Binance screwed up, and that had a lot to do with it, right? that wild deleveraging wiped out a lot of retail.
And it wiped out a lot of market makers.
And a lot of market makers.
Pretty crazy. And remember, in my previous video, we also discussed the fact that over $50 billion was withdrawn from Binance over the past 30 days. My go-to exchange is Bluffin. You know by now if you've been watching the channel. I've been trading on here. I hold some assets on here. So if you want a reliable crypto exchange outside of the usual Binances, Bybits, and all of that, well, you do have Bluffin with the second link in my description down below. Shamelessly shilling it, but I've been using them for a while, and I really do like their services. A lot of people people are currently flooding Binance, and you can never know in the crypto space. If you're actually just looking for spot portfolio, well, I typically buy my assets and then I go ahead and withdraw them onto a ledger. Cold storage is the way to go. But from a trading portfolio perspective, this is my go-to. Now, I also wanted to touch on the fact that the Bitcoin percentage of supply in profit and loss is getting very, very close. Historically, when we tap into these levels, it's excellent buying opportunities. And you can see that these coincide with the bear market bottoms. Now, we can stay at these levels for quite some time, but you'll notice that we are almost at those levels, and it would not surprise me if we coincide over the course of this year, providing a very, very good buying opportunity. I haven't been aggressive with my Bitcoin buys yet, but I will let you know as soon as I decide to buy from a spot portfolio perspective. Until then, I will continue to trade the market that is right in front of me, make as much profit as possible, and then with that cash, accumulate a very good spot position into the next market. And I was actually yesterday on the Moon Show's channel on the live stream with Crypto Kid, and we discussed the fact that if you're still paying attention to crypto at this point in time, you will make it. Look, I can't promise anything, but what I'm noticing, at least from an analytics perspective, looking at my YouTube audience, looking at the people that are commenting, a lot of people have started to tune out of the crypto space because I can understand this year has been absolutely brutal. But believe me, if you pay attention, you will be able to take advantage of some of the best opportunities in the next few months. Make sure you're aware, make sure you tune into the videos every single day. Doesn't have to be my videos, but just stay informed with the crypto space for 5 to 10 minutes every single day, and you will be one step ahead of all of the retail that starts flooding back as soon as the market starts pumping and we are into the next cycle. And that sums up today's quick video. Not much has really changed since my previous videos. Bitcoin is essentially just chopping around. I am still in my exact same trades. Inflation data came in within expectations, and we'll have to see how the market develops over the course of the weekend and into the next week. Make sure you tune into the next videos, subscribe, smash that like button, turn on the notification bell, and as always, I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.